Daylight rested over the city like a thin sheet of gold, warm but unable to hide the tension that always lived under its surface. The marketplace was alive, vendors shouting prices, children weaving between stalls, customers bargaining loudly. But the moment a black luxury car rolled in, the noise shifted. It didn't stop. It simply changed. Voices lowered. Movements stiffened. Fear spread through the crowd like a quiet wave. Because everyone knew who owned this part of the city. Adrian Vale. The man people feared more than the police, more than the law, more than God himself. He stepped out of the car with a calm that was scarier than violence. His dark suit stood out sharply in the sunlight, and his expression was carved from stone. His men followed behind, tall, silent, watchful. The kind of men who didn't blink unless Adrian blinked. People stepped aside. Mothers pulled children away. Even store owners, who owed their entire living to him, bowed their heads and avoided eye contact. Adrian walked forward with quiet authority, hands behind his back, eyes sharp as blades, until something unexpected happened. Something so small, so soft, and yet powerful enough to freeze him in place. A hand grabbed his jacket. Not the hand of a grown man. Not a desperate debtor. Not a foolish criminal. A child. He turned slowly, ready to punish whoever dared touch him without permission. And there she stood. A girl, maybe 14, maybe 15, dressed in worn clothes, her dark hair tied in a loose braid, her face pale, her hands trembling. Her eyes, though filled with fear, held a strange kind of bravery. She didn't let go. Adrian's guards instantly reached for their guns. But the girl didn't flinch. She took a shaky breath and whispered, voice breaking, "Your guys scared my sister. She's mute, and she's missing." The marketplace fell silent. Even the breeze seemed to stop. Adrian blinked once. Slowly, his brow tightened with confusion, with annoyance, and something else he tried to hide. He raised a hand slightly, stopping his guards from reacting. "Speak clearly," Adrian said, his voice low and cold. "What did you just say?" The girl swallowed hard. Her eyes glistened with tears she was trying to hold back. She can't talk. "My little sister, Mira. We were walking through the alleys behind the restaurant, your restaurant, and your men shouted. They ran toward us. Mira got scared. She ran. I tried to catch her, but she disappeared around the corner and—" Her voice cracked. "I haven't seen her since." Adrian studied her face, searching for a lie. He found none. Behind him, one of his guards stepped forward. "Boss, she's making it up. Kids around here." Adrian lifted a finger. Silence returned immediately. He crouched slightly, just enough to look the girl in the eyes. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena," she whispered. "Lena," he repeated slowly, as if tasting the truth in the sound. "Why would my men chase two girls? What were you doing there?" Lena shook her head quickly. "We were only delivering vegetables to the restaurant. We weren't doing anything wrong. I swear. Please." "She's terrified of strangers, and she's mute. She can't scream. She can't call for help." The last sentence broke her. Tears fell despite her trying to stay strong. Adrian straightened to his full height, eyes hardened. "You said my men chased you," he said, turning toward his guards. "Did any of you confront two girls today?" His men exchanged confused looks, then shook their heads. "No, sir. Not us. We didn't approach any kids." Adrian's jaw tightened. Someone was lying. Or something else was happening behind his back. He turned again toward Lena. "Describe the men who chased you." "They wore black jackets," she said immediately. "They had guns. One had a scar across his chin. They shouted, 'Don't let them run.' And Mira thought it meant us." Adrian's gaze sharpened. Black jackets. Scar across the chin. Those weren't his guards. A subtle unease crept into his chest, an emotion he didn't allow himself to feel often. He took a step closer to Lena. "Listen carefully," he said. "If someone else is pretending to be my men, if someone else is using my territory without permission, Your sister might be in real danger. Lena's breath hitched. Then help me find her. Please. She's all I have. There was something in Lena's voice, pain, desperation, innocence, that hit deeper than Adrian expected. For a moment, an image flashed in his mind. A girl's scream. A dark alley. His own helplessness years ago. He shook the memory away sharply. He wasn't that boy anymore. He turned to his men. Spread out. Search every alley, every rooftop, every basement. Bring me information. Now! The men scattered instantly. Lena looked up at him, hope and fear mixing in her trembling eyes. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet, Adrian said, adjusting his cuff. We don't know who took her. Lena sniffed, wiping her tears with her sleeve. I saw someone else, she added quietly. Before Mira ran, there was a man in the shadows. He wasn't wearing black. He was hiding, watching. Adrian's head tilted slightly. Hiding? Yes, she said. He looked strange, like he didn't want anyone to see him. But Mira saw him. She tugged my hand to warn me, I think. Adrian clenched his jaw. Someone lurking in his territory, following two innocent girls, pretending to be his soldiers. This wasn't random. He was about to question Lena more when a buzzing sound came from inside his coat pocket. His phone. He picked it up. An unknown number. Adrian answered with a cautious, "Speak." No voice came through. Just static. And then, a soft whimper. A child's whimper. His eyes narrowed. Then a photo appeared on his screen. A small girl, curled behind a stack of crates in a dark alley, her knees pulled to her chest, her eyes wide and wet. Mira. She looked terrified, exhausted, alone. Lena gasped when she saw the picture. That's her. That's Mira. Where is she? Please, is she okay? Is she hurt? Adrian didn't answer. He stared at the screen as a message slowly typed itself under the photo. We found something valuable. Should we keep her? Adrian's blood turned cold. This wasn't a ransom message. This wasn't a kidnapper asking for money. This was a threat. A message sent to him. A message meant for his eyes. And the words, "We found something valuable," felt like a knife. Keep her? What did they mean by keep? He inhaled slowly, forcing his voice to remain calm. This message, he said to Lena, holding the phone so she could see. Look at the sender. It's not my men. Whoever has your sister. They're playing a dangerous game. Lena covered her mouth, tears streaming again. Why her? She didn't do anything. She can't talk. She can't even defend herself. Why are they doing this? Adrian stood still for a long moment. His eyes darkened. His voice dropped low. They're doing this, he said, because someone wants to send a message to me. Lena looked confused and terrified. What does that mean? What does it have to do with Mira? Adrian slowly turned to face her. It means, he said softly, your sister is caught in something much bigger than you think. Lena's knees weakened. Please, please bring her back. I beg you. Adrian looked back at the photo, at Mira's terrified eyes. Something twisted inside him. Something he hadn't felt in years. Guilt, fear, responsibility. He slid the phone back into his pocket. We're not leaving this place, he told his remaining guards. Not until we find her. He looked at Lena again. Stay close to me. Don't go anywhere alone. She nodded quickly. Then Adrian whispered something so quiet, Lena almost didn't hear it. This isn't my men. His eyes lifted toward the alleyways ahead. Dark, narrow, unknown. Someone was pretending to be him. Someone was hunting girls in his territory. Someone was challenging him directly. And somewhere in those shadows, a mute girl was waiting. Scared. Alone. Running out of time. Adrian took a step forward. The hunt had begun. The afternoon sun hung high in the sky, painting the city in harsh light. Shadows stretched long across the streets, alleys, and rooftops. Everything looked ordinary, but Adrian Vale knew better. Danger never waited for sunlight. Danger thrived in the open, hiding in plain sight. Lena stayed close to him, her small hand gripping his sleeve as they walked through the crowded streets. Her eyes darted nervously from side to side, scanning every passersby. Every shadow seemed to whisper, "Mira." Every footstep echoed, "Where is she?" Adrian noticed. He noticed the way she stiffened when someone brushed past her, the way her lips trembled, the way fear had carved tiny lines into her young face. But he also noticed the determination behind her fear. She wasn't giving up, and he couldn't either. The streets speak. Adrian's mind raced as he thought about the situation. His own men weren't responsible. That much was clear. And yet, someone had used his name to terrorize a child, and now his territory was compromised. He motioned to the first informant, a lean man leaning against a fruit stall. "Did anyone strange pass through here today?" Adrian asked, voice low, controlled, but cold. The man swallowed. "I I didn't see anything, Mr. Vale. Just the usual people." Adrian nodded slowly, keeping his anger contained. "Look again. I don't care how busy the streets are. Someone passed here, and they left a mark. Find it." The man hesitated, then hurried off. Adrian turned to Lena. "We have to move quickly. Whoever has your sister knows these streets better than we do, but they've made a mistake. They've underestimated me." Lena nodded silently, biting her lip. I just want her back," she whispered, almost to herself. Adrian's gaze softened, almost imperceptibly. She reminded him of someone he had lost long ago. A sister, maybe a cousin, someone he failed to protect. "I'll bring her back," he said, almost as a vow. "I promise you that." A reluctant partnership. Despite his reputation for being ruthless, Adrian knew this hunt required careful planning. He couldn't act recklessly, not with Lena and her sister involved. He needed information, strategy, and speed. He guided Lena into a quiet side street where the market's noise faded into muffled echoes. "You need to stay close," he said firmly. "Do exactly what I say. Don't wander. Don't talk to anyone else. Don't." "I won't," Lena interrupted, almost pleading. I want to help. I saw where she went last. I can tell you." Adrian studied her for a long moment. She was young, naive, but brave. And most importantly, she remembered details. "All right," he said finally. "Tell me everything." She explained the route they had taken before the men chased them. She pointed to narrow alleys, stacks of crates, broken fences, and small shops where her sister might have hidden. Adrian listened carefully, storing every detail. The first clues. The first clue appeared sooner than expected. Behind a butcher shop, they found a small bracelet lying in the dust. Lena gasped. "Mira's!" she cried. Adrian crouched, examining it. It was scratched and dirty, but unmistakable. Someone had passed through here recently. Someone had taken her sister. "Good," Adrian murmured. "We're on the right path. Whoever did this didn't plan for us to follow." Lena's eyes filled with hope, but also worry. "Do you think she's safe?" she asked softly. Adrian didn't answer immediately. He scanned the rooftops and alleyways. "Safe?" he said finally. "No, but alive. For now." The words felt heavier than he intended. He couldn't promise her safety. He could only promise that he would fight, and he would find Mira, no matter the cost. A hidden threat. As they moved deeper into the alleys, the tension in the air thickened. Adrian's senses were on high alert. He could feel eyes on them, hear the faintest shuffle behind crates or inside windows. Lena noticed his gaze, following it nervously. "Who's watching us?" she whispered. "Someone who doesn't want us to find her," Adrian said. "They're clever and dangerous. They know these streets like the back of their hand." Every step forward made her heart beat faster. Every shadow could hide a threat. And Adrian's mind was already mapping escape routes, choke points, and possible ambushes. Something about the bracelet lying in the dust told him they weren't just after a child. Mira had seen something, witnessed something, and now someone wanted to silence her. The phone call. A buzz in Adrian's pocket startled both of them. He pulled out his phone, already expecting a trap. An unknown number flashed on the screen. He answered cautiously, voice low. Hello. Static. Then, a voice, a child's voice, faint, frightened, almost impossible to understand. Adrian listened carefully, his jaw tightening. Lena gasped. Is that? He didn't answer. He only listened as the faint cries continued for a few seconds before the line went dead. Adrian turned the phone toward Lena, showing her a short video that had just arrived. Mira, tied and hiding behind a stack of crates, looked terrified but alive. She's here, Lena whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. We have to save her. Adrian's expression hardened. This wasn't just a missing child. This was a challenge, a direct threat to him. And now, he knew that whoever was behind it wanted him to react, wanted him to be afraid. The first plan. Adrian stopped in the middle of the alley, kneeling slightly to be at Lena's level. Listen, he said. We're not going in blindly. We need to find out who did this, where they're keeping her, and what they want. Then we strike. We do it smart. We do it fast. And we do it together. Lena nodded, courage shining through her fear. I'll help, she said. I know the alleys. I know where they might hide. Adrian studied her, weighing the risk. Involving her could be dangerous. But she was the one who knew her sister best. He had no choice. All right, he said. Lead the way. But stay close. No mistakes. The first lead. As Lena guided him, a shopkeeper leaned out from a doorway, whispering. I saw them, he said. Men with black jackets. But not your men. Snake tattoos. They took the little girl. Adrian's heart sank. The Snake Syndicate. He had fought them before. Dangerous, ruthless, unpredictable. And now they were using Mira as bait. He looked down at Lena. They want me to chase them, he said. But I won't just chase. I'll control this. I'll find her. And I'll make them regret ever touching a girl. Lena's eyes widened. You'll save her? I'll save her, he said firmly. I don't fail when children are involved. Not this time. Mini cliffhanger ending. They moved cautiously, every sound amplified, every shadow a potential threat. Adrian's phone buzzed again. A new message appeared. A short, typed line. Come alone, Adrian, or she won't make it. Lena gasped, looking up at him. Fear, panic, and hope mixed in her eyes. Adrian's jaw tightened. Someone was daring him, and using a child as leverage. He looked around, scanning the crowded streets, calculating, planning. The hunt had begun in earnest. And this time, there would be no mistakes. The city felt different at dusk. The golden sunlight had faded into a muted, harsh glare that seemed to stretch every shadow longer, every corner darker. Every alley whispered danger. Every rooftop seemed to hold eyes that shouldn't be there. Lena clutched Adrian's sleeve tighter, her small hand shaking slightly, but her eyes burned with determination. They were closer now, closer to Mira, closer to the truth, closer to the danger they had been running from since morning. Adrian, despite the calm mask he wore, felt tension ripple through him. His muscles were taut, ready for anything. Every sound made him flinch slightly. A car horn, a loose shutter, the distant bark of a dog, they all could hide a threat. But more than danger, there was the knowledge of urgency. Every second that passed could change everything. Mira was out there somewhere, alone. She couldn't call for help. She couldn't scream. And that meant the responsibility fell entirely on Adrian and Lena. The plan forms. Adrian slowed their pace, pulling Lena slightly aside to a quiet corner. He crouched so they were level with each other. Listen, he said, voice low, urgent, controlled. We can't just rush blindly. Whoever took your sister is smart. They know this city, these alleys, and they're counting on us making a mistake. Lena nodded, her voice trembling. I know where she might be, she whispered. Before she ran, she pulled me toward a man. In the shadows, he looked different. He didn't want anyone to see him. Mira saw him. She tried to warn me. Adrian's jaw tightened. That was the first real lead. If Mira had seen him, then she wasn't just a random target. She was a witness. And witnesses in the wrong hands could disappear without a trace. Good, Adrian said quietly. Then we follow that. But we have to be careful. Every corner, every doorway, every window, they could be watching us. Lena swallowed hard, nodding. I'll remember everything. Signs in the shadows. They moved through back alleys, narrow streets, and abandoned shop fronts. The sounds of the city faded, replaced by the creak of shutters, the scuff of shoes on broken pavement, and the whisper of wind through empty corridors. Adrian noticed small things. A loose brick where someone had crouched, a bent street sign, a discarded glove. These weren't mistakes. These were messages, markers, and warnings. Lena noticed too. Her eyes scanned every shadow, every doorway, every alley junction. That way, she said suddenly, pointing to a pile of crates near a closed warehouse. Adrian approached carefully, his boots making soft, precise noises on the cracked pavement. He crouched and peered over the crates. Nothing. Just shadows. Empty boxes. Silence. But Adrian knew better. Mira had been here. The bracelet from earlier had led them this far. Small signs, small things, they always left traces. The first real clue. As they continued, Lena stopped abruptly, pointing to a small smudge on a wall. It looked like a drawing, a small snake with two heads. Adrian crouched, examining it. Interesting, he muttered. This is a signature. Someone wants their mark left behind. Lena's eyes widened. Mira drew that, she whispered. She's been drawing. Before she went missing, she noticed the man with the snakes. She drew it over and over. Adrian's expression hardened. The Snake Syndicate. They weren't just kidnappers. They were organized. They were dangerous. And they were smart enough to use a child as leverage while hiding in the daylight. He glanced at Lena. Your sister isn't just missing. She's part of something bigger. Someone wants something from me. And now, they have a witness. Lena swallowed. Then we have to move faster. Adrian nodded. Exactly. We move faster, but smarter. The warehouse approached. By late afternoon, they found themselves at the outskirts of the industrial district. Empty warehouses stretched along cracked streets. Dust rose in the sunlight. Every rusted shutter could hide a sniper. Every broken fence could conceal a trap. Adrian's senses were sharp. Every sound was a warning. Every shadow a potential threat. He moved like a predator, silent, controlled, aware of every detail. Lena followed closely, trembling but resolute. This is it, she whispered. I think Mira's in that big warehouse. Adrian didn't respond immediately. He crouched slightly, examining the entrance. Chains hung from the doors. Windows were boarded unevenly. Someone had been careful, but not perfect. We go in carefully, he said finally. You stay behind me. Do not make a sound. If anything happens, we survive first, then we rescue her. Lena nodded. Her breath caught. Fear and hope mixed into one chaotic knot inside her chest. The silent terror inside the warehouse. Darkness swallowed them. Dust motes danced in the streaks of sunlight that broke through cracks in the roof. Every step made the floorboards groan. Every shadow seemed alive. Then, a soft sound. A whimper. Adrian froze, listening. Lena gasped softly. That was Mira. She couldn't scream, but she could cry. And the sound carried. Adrian motioned for Lena to stay back and moved toward the noise. He crouched low, every sense alert, every muscle tense. The sound grew louder. Small feet shuffling. The soft clink of metal. Chains, perhaps. Then he saw her. Mira, a small girl, curled behind a rusted barrel, trembling, her eyes wide, tear-streaked, silent, but terrified. She couldn't speak. She couldn't scream. She could only watch. Adrian's heart clenched. A silent promise formed in his mind. I will not let them hurt you. Not now. Not ever. He stepped forward slowly. Mira flinched, but recognition flickered in her eyes. Relief. Hope. Lena rushed forward. crouching beside her sister. Mira, I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you. Mira's tiny hands clutched Lena's arm. She pointed frantically toward the other side of the warehouse, toward shadows Adrian hadn't noticed before. The hidden danger. Adrian's gaze followed her pointing fingers. And then he saw it. A man stepped out from behind crates, tall, broad, snake tattoo crawling up his neck, smirking, watching. Adrian's heart raced. Rocco, his right-hand man, his trusted lieutenant, betrayer. Everything snapped into focus. This wasn't just a random kidnapping. This was inside information, a trap, a betrayal from within. He whispered to Lena and Mira, "Stay close. No sudden movements. Understand?" They nodded, eyes wide with fear. Rocco raised a hand slowly, almost casually, as if he had all the time in the world. "Ah, Adrian," he said, his voice calm, mocking. "I was wondering when you'd show up, and bringing the little girl's sister with you. Brave or foolish? Maybe both." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Let them go, Rocco." Rocco laughed softly. "Or what? You'll kill me? You're bleeding, boss. You're angry, and you love her too much to let her die. That's why you came." Adrian's eyes narrowed. This was no longer just a hunt. This was a test. A trap. Mini cliffhanger ending. Mira whimpered silently again, pointing to another shadow. Adrian followed her gaze and froze. A second figure emerged from the shadows, carrying a small detonator. Rocco smirked. "One wrong move, Adrian, and this warehouse will become a tomb." Adrian's hands clenched into fists. His mind raced. He looked at Lena and Mira. "Hold on. Don't scream. Don't move. Not yet." The warehouse air became thick with tension, every second stretching into eternity. And in that moment, Adrian knew every step forward was a battle, every choice a risk. The hunt had grown deadly, and the girl who couldn't scream was at the center of it all. The warehouse was a trap. Shadows twisted unnaturally in the dusty sunlight filtering through broken windows. Every corner, every stack of crates, seemed alive with danger. The smell of rusted metal and old oil hung heavy in the air. And somewhere, deep within, a child trembled, mute, terrified, and silent. Adrian Vale crouched low, every muscle coiled like a predator. His dark suit was already smudged with dirt and sweat. His eyes flicked between Lena, Mira, and the two figures in the shadows. One was Rocco, his former right-hand man. The other, a stranger, holding a small, ominous device. The detonator. Adrian's heart pounded. Every second stretched into eternity. This wasn't just about a missing girl anymore. This was about survival and betrayal. Chaos unleashed. Rocco smirked, his snake tattoo catching the sunlight as he stepped forward. "I hoped you'd come alone," he said. His tone was calm, almost cruelly patient. "But bringing the sisters? Brave or foolish? I can't decide yet." Adrian's jaw tightened. He didn't answer. Every instinct screamed to attack, but the safety of the two girls was his priority. One wrong move, and the warehouse would be their tomb. Suddenly, the stranger holding the detonator pressed a button. A low, mechanical click echoed through the warehouse. Dust and loose debris began to shift. Adrian growled under his breath. Time was running out. He grabbed Lena and Mira instinctively, pulling them behind a stack of crates as the floorboards above rattled. "Stay down," he hissed. Lena clutched Mira tightly, whispering words of comfort. "It's okay. I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you." Mira's tiny hands clung to her sister's sleeve. She couldn't speak, couldn't scream, but her eyes told the story of terror and hope all at once. A fight born of rage. Adrian sprang from behind the crates, moving with calculated fury. His fists struck with precision, his body a weapon honed from years of survival and blood. He took down the stranger first, slamming him against the wall. The detonator clattered to the ground. Rocco lunged, a glint of metal in his hand. Adrian dodged, barely, and countered with a brutal punch that sent Rocco staggering back. Dust and sunlight mixed, creating a surreal haze around them, a deadly ballet of rage, skill, and desperation. "You betrayed me," Adrian growled, his voice raw. "You were supposed to have my back." Rocco laughed, a sound that chilled the blood. "Back? I don't follow anyone anymore. Not you. Not anyone. I'm the one in control now." Adrian's eyes narrowed. Every strike, every movement, was measured. He had to survive. He had to protect the girls. And he had to make sure Rocco paid for the betrayal, for the threat, for everything. Mira's silent courage. While the men fought, Mira did something remarkable. She pointed frantically toward the far end of the warehouse, gesturing toward a small, dusty ventilation shaft. Her tiny fingers urged Adrian to notice. Adrian glanced at her, and in that instant, he understood. Mira was telling him how to escape. She was silent, mute, but brave, determined. A child who couldn't scream was now guiding him through the chaos. "Good girl," Adrian whispered under his breath, eyes locking on Lena. "You too follow her lead. Move fast. Don't stop." Lena nodded, lifting Mira slightly so she could crawl first. The girls moved quickly, silently, down the narrow shaft as Adrian provided cover, knocking aside anyone who tried to stop them. The betrayal deepens, but Rocco wasn't finished. Blood trickled from a cut on Adrian's shoulder. He had been grazed by a knife, and Rocco grinned. "You'll die here, Adrian," he said, "and no one will know why." Adrian's vision sharpened. Pain surged, but he ignored it. This wasn't about him anymore. It was about the girls. Every blow he struck was fueled by fury, desperation, and determination. Rocco lunged again, this time aiming for a kill strike. Adrian dodged, slammed him into a crate, and pinned him down, his voice low and deadly. "This ends now," Adrian said. "No one hurts a child on my watch." The warehouse collapses. Suddenly, the remaining structural beams groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling. The distant click of the detonator echoed again. Someone had managed to trigger a partial collapse. Adrian realized there wasn't much time. The warehouse could come down on all of them at any moment. "Go!" he shouted to Lena and Mira. "Now!" The girls scrambled through the ventilation shaft. Adrian followed last, moving with all the strength left in his injured body. Every second felt like hours as debris fell around him. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Cliffhanger tension. Outside the warehouse, sunlight hit their faces. For a moment, relief washed over Adrian. Mira was safe. Lena held her sister tightly, breathing in short, panicked bursts. But Rocco wasn't finished. He emerged from the collapsing shadows, bloody but smirking. "You think this is over?" he hissed. "I'm not finished. This is just the beginning." Adrian squared his shoulders. His dark eyes burned with resolve. "You're done," he said. "This ends today." Rocco laughed, disappearing back into the collapsing warehouse, leaving chaos behind. Adrian glanced back at Lena and Mira. They were shaken but alive. For now. And in that moment, Adrian understood one undeniable truth. The war wasn't over. The girls were safe for now, but the danger, the betrayal, the Snake Syndicate, they were still out there, waiting, planning, watching. Adrian took a deep breath, looking at the girls. His voice was low, firm, almost a whisper for himself. "We're not finished yet. Not by a long shot." The sun beat down on them, harsh and blinding, yet in its light, Adrian felt the fire of vengeance and protection burning hotter than ever. Sunlight poured over the city streets, blinding in its intensity, yet oddly comforting after the darkness of the warehouse. Dust and smoke still lingered in the alleys, evidence of the chaos they had escaped. But even as the light stretched across the pavement, Adrian Vale knew danger was far from over. Lena held Mira tightly, her small hands shaking as she clutched her sister close. Mira's mute eyes were wide with terror, her body trembling, but alive. Alive. That was all that mattered for now. Adrian's eyes swept over the surroundings. Every shadow could hide a threat. Every rooftop could hold a sniper. Every passing figure could be an enemy in disguise. Stay close, he whispered, his voice calm but edged with steel. We are not safe yet. Lena nodded, pressing Mira against her chest. The three of them moved cautiously through the streets, eyes sharp, ears tuned to every sound. The final chase. Rocco had disappeared into the chaos of the collapsing warehouse, but Adrian knew he wasn't gone for long. Betrayers like him never stayed away. He had to anticipate every move, every trap, every deception. They reached a narrow alleyway. Adrian paused, scanning the rooftops above and the doors on either side. Keep moving, he urged the girls. And don't look back. Mira clutched her sister's hand tightly, as if afraid to let go. Lena whispered softly, trying to calm her. It's okay, Mira. We're getting out. We're almost safe. The sound of footsteps echoed behind them. Slow, purposeful, deliberate. Adrian's hand went to his sidearm. He peeked around a corner. Rocco. Bloodied, furious, smirking with that same twisted grin. He wasn't done. Not yet. You can run, Adrian, Rocco called out, his voice carrying across the street. But she's mine if I want her. And I always get what I want. Adrian didn't flinch. His eyes narrowed. Every step was measured, every thought precise. Not today, he said. The confrontation. Rocco stepped closer, revealing the second man from the warehouse, the one with the detonator. Both were armed. Both were dangerous. But Adrian wasn't afraid. He was beyond fear. He was beyond hesitation. His mind was only on one thing: keeping these girls alive. Adrian advanced slowly, using the shadows for cover. You'll let them go, he said, voice low, deadly calm. Rocco laughed, a sound that made the hairs on Adrian's neck stand up. Or what? You'll kill me? Adrian didn't answer. He acted. With speed and precision, he disarmed the man with the detonator, kicking it out of reach. In the same motion, he tackled Rocco, throwing him against a wall. Dust and debris scattered in the bright sunlight. Mira cried out silently, tears streaming down her face. Lena pressed her hand to her sister's shoulder, guiding her to stay low. The fight was brutal, but Adrian was methodical. Each strike was calculated, each move designed to protect the girls. Within seconds, Rocco and his accomplice were incapacitated. Adrian looked down at them, breathing heavily. Stay down, he growled. No more games. The escape. With the immediate threat neutralized, Adrian turned to Lena and Mira. Come on, he said. We move now. Fast. They ran through narrow alleys, the sunlight now fully bright over the city streets, exposing every detail. Mira, once terrified and silent, held on to Lena tightly, following every step. The city felt alive around them, bustling with people oblivious to the chaos that had just unfolded in its shadows. Adrian led them through safe routes only he knew, through streets lined with towering buildings and hidden corners. They finally reached the edge of the city, where the streets opened into a park. Trees swayed gently in the daylight, and the noise of the city softened. For the first time since the ordeal began, the girls could breathe without fear. A moment of relief. Lena hugged Mira tightly, whispering words she had never needed to speak before. You're safe now, Mira. You're safe. Mira's hands clutched her sister's shirt, her mute eyes shimmering with relief and gratitude. She couldn't speak, but the tears in the way she pressed into Lena said it all. Adrian watched silently from a few steps away, his expression unreadable. Beneath the calm, there was exhaustion, and beneath the exhaustion, a quiet satisfaction. He had promised to bring Mira back, and he had. But even in the daylight, Adrian knew the war wasn't over. The Snake Syndicate, Rocco, and whoever else lurked in the shadows were still out there. The aftermath. Adrian crouched to Lena's level. You did well, he said. Both of you. Mira. You were brave. Lena. You never gave up. Lena nodded, still holding her sister. Thank you, Adrian, for everything. I don't know what we'd do without you. He looked toward the horizon, the sunlight casting long shadows across the park. This isn't over, he said quietly. But for now, you're safe, and that's all that matters. Mira looked up at him, eyes wide. She couldn't speak, but she pressed her small hand into his. Adrian felt a flicker of something rare: connection, trust, and hope, all from a child who couldn't scream, but whose courage had been louder than any voice. Adrian turned his gaze back toward the city. Somewhere in the shadows, enemies watched. Plans were being made. Betrayal was still a possibility. But he didn't hesitate. He had learned something important today. Courage isn't about speaking. Courage is about surviving, about never giving up, and about protecting the ones who can't protect themselves. He glanced at Lena and Mira again. They were safe, for now. And that was enough. For now. As the sun blazed high above, Adrian's phone buzzed. A new message appeared. A single line. "You may have won today, but tomorrow is mine." Adrian's eyes narrowed, a faint smile touching his lips. He knew the war wasn't over, and he would be ready. The daylight had returned, but the shadows were still waiting, and Adrian Vale never left anyone he cared about behind.